most e-commerce brands are using AI the wrong way. They're trying every new tool that comes out and maybe saving a few minutes here and there, and they're calling it strategy. Meanwhile, we've used AI to grow our own brand Neat from $9,000 a month to $114,000 per month in under a year. We've helped dozens of e-commerce brands do the same and scale past 7, even 8 figures using this same AI-first approach. So in today's video, I'm going to break down the exact AI strategy we use to grow e-commerce brands so you can just copy it, implement it at your company, and take this same AI-first approach. So let's get started. So here's the problem. Most e-commerce brands treat AI like a productivity hack instead of a growth lever. Let me tell you what that means. They hear about a new AI tool and they get excited, and I do the same thing, and then you try and shove it into your workflow without really taking a step back to figure out what's actually stopping you from growing and focusing on problem first instead of feature first. And the reason this happens is because AI is marketed as a time saver. Every tool out there promises to save you 10 hours per week or to automate your workflow. So founders naturally want to start there. They look for places to cut time. But the problem with that is saving time on something that doesn't drive revenue, that doesn't drive growth, it just makes you more efficient at staying stuck. I see this all the time. We've made the mistake ourselves, right? When you're stuck at 1 to 4 million in revenue, you've got traction, you've got a product that sells, but all of a sudden growth has plateaued. And instead of using AI to solve the thing that's actually holding you back, you end up with a dozen subscriptions to various tools and not having a real impact on top line. You have nothing to show for it after 90 days. You over optimize things that aren't the core problem. And the root of this comes down to, are we asking the right questions? Most brands ask things like, where can I save time with AI? And that sounds reasonable, but it leads you to automate things that don't move the needle. Or you ask yourself, how can I optimize this workflow? Again, not a bad question, but optimizing the wrong thing is still a waste of time. Before we optimize, we need to ask ourselves, where can I have the biggest impact? Another issue I see is that something new launches, and you're like, oh, that's a cool new AI feature. Let me find a way to use it. This feature first thinking is dangerous, and it almost always leads to wasted effort because you're starting with a tool instead of a problem. It's okay to still learn about it, tinker with it, but don't shove it into the workflow unless it's correlated to that problem you want to solve. So these questions aren't terrible on their own, but they miss the point entirely. And if they compound, you're still going to be stuck. You're limited on time as a founder, as a business, so you need to focus on impact first. That means sales. That means saying no to good ideas so you can focus on great ideas. So once you understand why those questions lead you in the wrong direction, the fix becomes actually pretty simple. You flip the question. And instead you're saying, what would unlock the next 1 million in revenue for my brand? What are my constraints to get there? How can AI help? When you start there, you're forced to look at what's actually constraining your growth, right? Maybe it's your ads aren't generating enough results and you're not testing enough creative at scale. Or maybe it's that you have zero organic traffic and you're completely dependent on one paid channel, on one algorithm. Once you identify that constraint, the next step is figure out whether AI can help you remove it faster or cheaper than what you could do without it. That's the shift we made at GrowthHit. And it's the reason we've been able to help brands like Turtle go from 7 to 8 figures, because we stopped using AI to save time and started using it to solve the one thing that's actually blocking growth. So with that mindset shift in place, the first thing that we want to focus on using AI to drive is top of funnel growth. For most e-commerce brands, to scale, you need to find more customers in a cost-effective way. That means your biggest bottleneck could be we don't have enough traffic or we don't have the creative engine to create ads at scale, so we're always driving profitable traffic. Because those are the constraints that directly limit revenue. And that's where AI should go first, not email subject lines, not to workflows. So to show you what this looks like in practice, I'm going to show you how this played out with Neat and how we use this to drive an increase in organic traffic. So when we acquired this brand, it had very minimal organic traffic and there wasn't a true strategy to increase it. So we used AI to build out that entire SEO content strategy from scratch. We did it by using Claude Cowork, to do the audit assessment and to help with some of the implementation. So let me show you what that looks like and how we put this all together. Okay, what I'm showing right now are a collection of prompts that we use that essentially function as a senior SEO strategist. And the goal here is to use these prompts to help create the strategy and the playbook on how we're going to level up the Neat website to get more organic traffic from the search engines like Google or from the LLMs like Claude, Gemini, OpenAI. So what I'm showing here are all the different prompts we use. This one is doing the high-level SEO strategy. We also want to know what content gaps do we have? What's the website talking about? But as it does a SWOT analysis, we're actually missing the boat on not talking about shirts that hide sweat for golf or something like that. Also, FAQs are huge for search, especially AI-based search. So it's auditing the website to see where we need to have FAQs for collection pages, product page, or other pages. So there's lots of technical components here. In addition to that, it's also looking at the content strategy, really understanding what keywords to go after with content. And so there's lots of components to this, but let me show you the output of this SEO strategy from these prompts. We essentially had it create an action plan in the form of a spreadsheet so we could go through it and it would tell us what to do. And so this is showing the technical side of it, where it's doing a technical audit to look at a lot of different things from page speed to how it is on mobile to internal linking strategy. It's also looking at on-page optimization, best practices we're doing or not doing. So it gives us that kind of assessment and recommendations on what to do. From there, it's also looking at our existing blog and the content strategy. So it looked at the existing content and gave feedback on that, what we're doing well with how we have the meta title and the descriptions and the recommendations. And then it built us an entire content strategy. So what you can see here are all the different blog posts that it recommended. We would go through that, approve it, understand the main keywords it's going after, and then it would actually write the content to be SEO optimized and put it in its own Google Doc. So we could then go in and publish this on the actual blog. And so you can kind of see how this gave us superpowers. This allowed us to not have to hire a huge staff, get specialists, but to kind of do it ourselves. And so the result for using AI to help with organic traffic is that we started to see it become a real part of the overall traffic driver. It started small, but we're seeing it start to increase as our traffic is now going from non-existent from organic to up to 20%. And that 20% is now coming without us paying for each click, paying for a full team to have to manage it and do it every day. And it also is helping us diversify from being dependent on paid ads. By the way, if you're running an e-commerce brand and growth has plateaued, whether it's your ads, it's your site's conversion rate, or just the overall direction, you're not feeling good about it, we could do a free strategy call where we diagnose, hey, what's blocking your growth, and give you a clear game plan on where you should focus and if we're the right partner to help. So just click the first link in the description. You can book a call with us and would love to learn more. Let's get back to the video. So organic traffic is just one side of the equation. The other constraint we identified was ad creative. This is where AI probably had the single biggest impact because like a lot of teams, you need more assets, you need more stills, more videos, more user-generated content. And it's a full-time job to come up with that strategy to find influencers, find creators, get them the product, and start to create that muscle of always having new creative. The reason creative is such a bottleneck is that it really takes people's time and energy and money to pull it off. You have to script it, you have to edit it, you have to give feedback, and you have to hope it works after you deploy it, and then you start all over again. The algorithm is smart enough to find your audience. The limiting factor is always, do you have enough good creative to test? And are you always feeding the ad machine with new creative? Here's how we use AI to remove that bottleneck. We built this process with Claude with very specific prompts in mind. Basically, we wanted to create a very clear template to give to creators that basically helps them knock it out of the park when they get our product and they need to record a piece of content for it. So let me show you what that looks like in kind of two phases. All right, so what I'm showing first is our UGC video script template. We really scrutinized this to death, our ads team and myself, because we needed to make a template that was so good that we could easily put a brand's information into it. It would pump out what we need. We could then give it to a creator and they wouldn't make the common mistakes we see, but ideally give us enough content to make a killer ad video. So the first thing that we do is we have a brand brief where we can use AI to fill this out after we do a stakeholder interview with a brand, or even now after we crawl a brand's website to get core information on the flagship product, the price, their core offer, those core benefits, their persona, how we speak to them. Then this helps really inform the script for the video we're going to ask a micro influencer or creator to make. We made it modular, so it allows the video editing team to pick and choose the different parts of the video they want so they can A/B test different hooks. So here's what it looks like. You can see the different hooks that we have. We basically give a few different options. With every creator, we're giving 3 to 5 for them to record. And this allows us, again, to have things to test. And this is probably one of the most important things, is why we ask for these creators to do 3 to 5. And then we have a body where it talks about the brand, talks about the core product, talks about the benefits, the problems that it solves, but it does it with the language that we really want to use. And then at the very end, we have the call to action. And this is usually after we're having the influencer do a show and tell to really demonstrate how the product works. And then one thing that we have that I think is really important is kind of the creator guidelines, the do's and don'ts to ensure this is a really good video. And then we have these different checkpoints we want to make sure that they hit. So this template has been stress tested, and it's something that ensures we're going to get good video content and not get the videos where like, oh my gosh, this is unusable. They didn't talk about the product how we want. They didn't show the thing that we wanted them to show. So this was step 1. Make a really black belt script that is scalable that we can send off to creators. Now, step 2 gets really interesting. You're like, okay, great. You've got a script. You've done the hard work. You've used AI to make a great script that you can scale. But how do you actually do outreach to these creators? That sounds very exhausting, very time consuming, a lot of back and forth, a very manual process. Now with Claude Co-work, there's a huge unlock where you can basically give Claude access to your desktop, and it can go to a platform like Join Brands, and it can do the work for you of sourcing the right creators and then teeing them up to see if they want to make a video and give them a product. We had a prompt that helped us start to go through Join Brands to find the right creators based on the type of creators we want. It could be like male, female, this age range, they're into fitness, they're into recipes, whatever that is. And so what I'm showing you right now is a video loop of what that looks like, of going back and forth with Claude to crawl through Join Brands to find the right creators for a specific brand. And notice how it's doing all this on the background. So you set this up and you can then go work on other things. And meanwhile, it's starting to build up a database, a directory of different creators and influencers that can make content for your brand. So this was really exciting to see over the past few weeks how this has been able to take a task that usually took us a day to half a day, that it can do where it takes us less than 10 minutes to prompt this and tweak this. And here's the final result of it. It created this creator comparison table that shows us basically all the creators that they believe are right for this specific brand. And it puts in information you would need as an executive to go through and simply say yes or no. It puts details about them, their bio, a link to their profile. It gives their handles for their social platforms, how many followers they have, how many reviews they have. So we can quickly make the final call of if we want to use this creator or not. This has been a full-time job that is now being able to be taken care of with AI. And so what's the result of that? There's 2 results that we're super excited about. First, let's talk about the output. We have now been able to create the muscle of constantly having strong user-generated content. Basically, every week, we're now getting new content from this machine that's kind of helping us source the right creators. The content's really good, but that content doesn't matter if it doesn't get results. And from this, 2 of our top 5 performing ads are from UGC content, where we use AI to script it and to source the right people. And this is something where we're just getting started with it and can see how this can really scale. And for other brands where this is really exciting is that with our brand Neat, we finally had enough creative volume to feed the algorithm at scale. And we're able to scale up Neat's ads from basically $50 per day to $1,000 per day without burning through winning creative and being able to always find new creative that converts. And then there's the photo shoot side, which really freed up even more budget and allowed us to move much quicker on product launches. We were spending lots of money on photo shoots every year. And not only that, it takes so much time and brain power, right? Studio time, photographers, models, scripting out the shot list, ordering food, ordering coffees, flights, hotels, logistics. It's a lot. So we started testing AI generated lifestyle imagery, product imagery, flat lays, and we were able to do this basically $100 per month. So what I'm showing now is one of the tools that we like a lot, which is Boudica. And here's a couple of the use cases. One, you can actually take a picture of yourself wearing the product, and then you can replace your face, your body with an AI generated model, but it's still the same product. You can also take flat lays and turn them into images that are on a model. You can take pictures of a product on a mannequin and put it on a model. And you can even do video of static images you take and then do AI generated videos. And for us, this has been a huge unlock, not just in money, but in time, to allow us to do more pre-launches, more wait lists, and to really test products we want to put out there and give us more assets for email, for landing pages, and for ads. And all of those savings, they were able to go back into ads. They were able to go into inventory. They're able to go into our time so we could think on strategy, which again is where growth actually comes from, being able to reinvest in those core things. So between organic traffic and creative, we covered the revenue side, but there is a third piece that most founders overlook, and it has to do with margins. The reason this matters is simple. Every percentage point you save on operating costs is a percentage point you can reinvest in growth. For us at Neat, using AI to cover work that would have otherwise required new hires saved us the equivalent of around 3 full-time hires, around $200,000 a year in salary and overhead. That $200K went directly back into ad spend, to inventory, which is how we're able to scale as aggressively as we did. There were a few roles where we use AI specifically instead of hiring. First, customer research. Instead of bringing on a research team or hiring a freelancer, we were able to run AI-powered analysis of customer reviews, support tickets, survey responses to identify pain points, the objections, those points of friction people have, and also the core language patterns they use around the problem that we're looking to solve. We also use AI for data analysis and getting insights. We're able to use AI to pull data from Shopify, from Google Analytics, from Klaviyo to start to get insights on what products are the best for first-time purchasers, what colors work well, what are the most popular sizes. When people buy a second or third time, what products are they choosing? How long till they make that second or third purchase? And we're able to do that without a data scientist, without a data team. We wouldn't have been able to make that investment until we're at 8 figures, but we're able to get that level of intelligence simply with AI, as well as copywriting. One person with good frameworks in AI now produces what used to require an entire content team. We're able to use AI to write landing pages on new launches, do full email series, do the email flows, do ad copy, do all of the SEO blog content, even build out our full content calendar for the year. And finally, we're using AI for customer service and administration purposes. We're huge fans of what Zapier is doing with Zapier AI and those workflows, where you can simply have different data sources talk to each other and pass information back and forth. And you can do it with an AI filter on it to make it really smart. So we record all of our meetings using Read AI when we're in Zoom that then actions those items to make tasks within our project management tool, Asana, removing the need for the kind of time-consuming task of project management and follow-up. And to be clear, this isn't about replacing people for the sake of it. It's about being intentional with where you are with your headcount and using AI to cover those gaps so you don't have to overextend, dip into margins to make a hire when you're not ready. The last piece of the puzzle is integration, because none of what I just covered works for you if your tools are all running in isolation. They have to be connected. So most brands end up using ChatGPT for copywriting, a separate tool for everything else. People are doing things on their personal devices, so things are siloed and not connected, and it doesn't allow you to put the learnings together to really scale. The reason that's a problem is that you end up manually moving information between tools. People are doing redundant work, and it defeats the purpose of AI in the first place. So our stack is pretty straightforward, and the key is how each tool feeds into the next. So it all starts with Claude, which handles strategy, copywriting, and analysis. That's where most of the thinking happens. From there, the copy, the scripts, the strategy, if we're doing video work, that moves to CapCut for video editing, where we're producing a lot of the ad creative video and some videos for our landing pages. On the retention side, we're then moving to Ripple, which is connected to Klaviyo, that allows us to do email automation, email blast at scale. And then when it comes to SEO on the website, we've been going back and forth between like SEMrush, but candidly, Claude has also been really powerful and allows us to keep our tech stack a little less bloated. And that's been really good for the technical recommendations and the content optimization, which again ties back to getting organic traffic that I mentioned earlier. And then Zapier sits underneath all of it. That is the connective tissue that allows us to have these tools talk to each other. So everything can be passed back and forth through Asana, through Slack, which have really nice integrations there. So when all these are connected, one person can really run these programs and be very seamless with the handoff. So it doesn't require an entire team. But one thing I'll be honest about through all of this is that this did not happen overnight. You have to give yourself a little bit of grace and space to actually tinker with these tools. So that means that it's okay for your team or someone to take half a day or day to work on something, to play with something, knowing that it might not be fruitful on that individual task. But over the long haul, these learnings will compound, right? And so being okay with what looks like playtime or that isn't efficient, knowing that long term you're building the muscle of having this growth mindset and really being an AI first organization. Another component to watch out for is we're all looking for that silver bullet, but candidly there isn't one. So instead of trying to, do one huge task with AI, I'm a big fan of sizing it down to pilot projects to understand, okay, are we focusing on impact? We can't maybe solve like the huge task of running your ad program, but is there a part of it where AI can start to help? So factor that in when you start using AI and you try and build this AI first company. Those will be some of the headwinds that you have. All right, so if you're running an e-commerce brand and you feel like growth has slowed down and you're not sure which lever to pull next, we do a free strategy call where we can diagnose what's actually blocking your growth and give you a clear roadmap to scale to that next level. Just click the first link in the description to book a call with us. We've helped brands scale from idea to 7 figures, from 7 figures to 8 figures, and we've done it focusing on the right constraints instead of throwing more tactics at the wall. A lot of times the answer is saying no to a lot of things and saying yes to the core thing that can remove that constraint that's holding you back from growth. So again, click the link below to book a strategy call. And if you want to see the exact AI tools I recommend you use as an e-commerce brand owner, then watch the next video. Hopefully you can get something out of it.